A few weeks ago, I put out a post announcing my Marine of the Month competition, where I would take a custom Space Marine chapter or Chaos Warband suggestion from my Patreon supporters and channel members and make it into a miniature. Well, after sifting through a whole pile of amazing suggestions, I finally settled on one, and that is Berserker suggestion, the Cyclopean Guard. This Iron Hand successor chapter specialised in void warfare and utilised Gravis armour extensively. So I began with a heavy intercessor, removing the parts from the frame and cleaning them up of any mould lines. The Cyclopean Guard's armour is inspired by contemporary spacesuits, which meant that any distinctive iconography, such as the Imperialis across the chest, needed to be removed. This was done with my clippers and a knife, steadily trimming down the symbol until I was left with a smooth surface. In addition to this, the pipes that ran between the hips and the legs were clipped away and trimmed down before finally gluing everything together. One feature of the Cyclopean Guard are their use of bubble helmets rather than the regular, more form-fitting helmets that Space Marines normally wear. This effect would be recreated by placing a 9mm ball bearing into the space where the helmet would normally go. While the bearing fits quite well already, this could be improved, so the inside of the neck was steadily trimmed back with my knife and Dremel until the ball bearing fit a little better. From here, it was superglued into place. For the arms, things were kept simple by attaching the right bolter arm from the Inceptor's kit, albeit without the front plate. As this arm features Gravis armour, it works incredibly well with the heavy intercessors. For the left arm, a regular heavy intercessor pointing arm was attached. With the basic shape of the model achieved, work could begin on the various extra details. The first of these was an extra roll bar of sorts, which was formed from the handle of a Hellblaster's backpack. After removing the handle and cleaning it up, it was glued to the gorget, resulting in a slightly more robust and utilitarian looking power armor. These details were continued by clipping away some of the small cylinders from the Skitaris Rad Carbine. Once removed and cleaned up, the discs were glued against the smoothed out armor of the chest to create the effect of intake ports. Keeping with the Skitari kit, the small scanner scope was clipped away from one of the backpacks and compared against the spherical helmet. Here, it was further trimmed and adjusted until it fit flush against the rounded surface, at which point it was superglued into place. This was followed up with a few extra discs being superglued across the helmet. To continue that more contemporary spacesuit look, I decided to give the Cyclopean Guard a different power pack than the one normally used on Gravis units. This was created by first attaching a squat Prospector's pack towards the top of the armor and then placing an upside down Votan Hearthkin pack beneath it. Combined, these two packs created a cruder industrial feel than the usual Gravis pack. The extra pipes, ports and gauges all combined to give the appearance of this equipment being designed to be used in the void of space. This same aesthetic was then carried over to the front of the armor by clipping down the pipe left over from the earlier Hellblaster pack. After extensive trimming, comparing and adjusting, the pipe was attached to the chest with a little glue. From here, the only thing left to do now was to attach a few extra pouches to the front of the armor. Again, these were taken from the Squat Prospector kit, with the small socket wrenches helping to feed in to the technical mindedness of the Cyclopean Guard. And with that, the model was ready to be painted. For the scheme, I followed the same steps as my Horus Heresy World Eaters to give the Cyclopean Guard a white armor scheme. This was punctuated with a few gold and orange details to help break the scheme up. Finally, the model was finished off with some leagues of Votan transfers and an alien planet basin scheme using some of AK Interactive's Turquoise Mine. And with that, I was left with this. And here we have the finished Cyclopean Guard. It's been a while since I've built a custom Space Marine chapter, and it's been good fun to get back into it. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this idea was submitted to me through my Marine of the Month competition. So, a big thank you to Berserker for sending in this idea, along with everyone else who submitted their own custom chapters and warbands. And this particular model will be making its way to Berserker very soon. If you are also a Patreon supporter or a channel member and you have an idea for a custom chapter or warband, I'll include some links below to where you can submit your ideas for January's Marine of the Month competition. Now before I go, let me say a big thank you to my Patreon supporters and channel members who help to keep this channel going, especially my Pouch of Dead Animal Bits tier and above supporters, who are Andrew Console, Axel Jonsson, Berserker, Daniel Dowling, Ian, Immaterial Creations, Maciej Savitsky, Mr. Grimm, Pale Juice, Blobs of Corn, Ryan Little, Summit B411, Swedsman, and Tim. And my Sergeant level channel members, who are Trooper Geo, Mr. Jared Heston 95, David, John Gibbs, The Sire Acquired, Philip Poyer, Nerdington Paints, Mark Taylor, and Whale Tussler. If you're interested in supporting me, you can hit the join button below or find a link to my Patreon in the description. Supporters get a whole host of benefits, including ad-free access to my videos, sneak peeks, a private Discord channel, and exclusive merchandise. Speaking of merchandise, I also have a few t-shirts and mugs up for sale, featuring designs drawn by me. You can check those out on the following links, or by going over to petethewargamer.com. So until next time, thanks for watching, and goodbye.